Hello everyone, it's Kari and welcome back to the Crafter Party. Today I went a little overboard as usual. We're making gift card holders and I wanted to share with you some of my very favorite ways to make gift card holders, some that are mailable and some that are not mailable. I'm sharing 6 different ideas with you today and I know I couldn't stop. But I do have to mention that I had to make some of these rather quickly. So I will have all the measurements in a PDF for you. If you don't want to write everything down, that's absolutely fine. To start off, we're going to make one of my favorite mailable gift card holders. And this starts off with an 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock. This is the British Racing Green, and I just cut it in half long ways, so it's 11 by 4.25 inches. Now you are going to need a scoreboard for all of these projects today. Hopefully you have one or paper cutter that also does scoring, and you're going to score this in half at 5.5 inches and then also score at 1.5 inches. That's what's going to create the little pocket for our gift card. So I'm going to go ahead and fold this in half, and then where we scored it at the 1.5 line, I'm going to fold that under. So you can see this is already going to turn into a card, and I'm going to use this 1-inch paper punch that I have. If you don't have a 1-inch paper punch, you can always use your circle punches or your die cuts and cut out a notch with that. But just for the ease of this class, I'm just going to cut out a little notch. That's going to help get the gift card in and out. There we go. Now all we have to do is glue down the edges. So we're just going to put a line of glue at the top and at the bottom of this 1.5 inch scored piece of the cardstock here. I'm going to put an acrylic block over the top and allow that to dry. And while that's drying, I'm going to cut a cardstock that's white to 4 inches by 5.25 so that it fits right in there like that with a little bit of green showing all the way around. This is where it's perfect to use this beautiful border stamp set. It's called Holiday Borders. I love it. It's from the new release, and I'm going to use one of them today on the edge of that white cardstock. So I'm just choosing which one I want here. I think this one will be really good, and I'm going to heat emboss it using this red cranberry embossing powder. It's really pretty. It's like a dark red, and I think it's going to work great for this project. So I'm just going to line this up on my MISTI, and I'll use some clear sticky ink to ink onto that and press it down on that white cardstock. This is what the embossing powder is going to stick to. I usually like to stamp it a couple of times with that clear sticky embossing ink. And now I'll go ahead and pour this right over the top. Now mine was still closed there. I'm using my tweezers just to open that up there. I find the tweezers really help me out. And then I'll just go ahead and add that to the cardstock. This worked out pretty good. By the way, I did use an embossing buddy bag at the beginning, so I got a pretty great result. I'm just wiping away any excess with a dry paintbrush. And then I'll heat set that, and look how cute that is. Such a pretty cranberry color. So there is that piece of paper, and now we can go ahead and glue that to the inside of our card. It's coming right along. So I'll just add a small bead of glue here, press that down, making sure I have a green border all around the outside. I finally received my old Hickory cardstock, which I was so excited for. I've been looking for a good brown cardstock for a long time. This one is perfect. It's beautiful, and it's going to be great for some gingerbread men. So I'm stamping these little gingerbread men. This is from the cute Gingerbread Hugs stamp set. There are 2 gingerbread men in there. There's also a gingerbread house, a star cookie, and a Christmas tree cookie, so you could probably use any of those images for this. In fact, you can decorate these any way you want. I'm just giving you some ideas here. And of course, feel free to copy me on any of these. I love to see what you're making, and I love it when you share them to social and tag Maker Forte and tag me too. It's just so fun to see what you're making. So I stamped those and heat embossed those with white embossing powder. Now I'm just going to cut those out, and I'm using some of this beautiful paper. This is from the Winter Watercolors, I believe it is. And I use this throughout, and I'm also going to use some of the paper that came in the Crafter Party kit as well. But this one, I just love the red polka dots. So I'm using some Independence ink around the edges, and that's going to go on the front panel just right there. And then I have a small little piece of paper that's going to serve as the shelf for these two little characters to sit on. Now I thought that they needed a little bit of color, so I'm taking some Kaleidoscope powder. This is the red color, and I can't remember the name of this right off the top of my head, but I will have all the products listed. Hopefully Lisa's going to be sending out that list for you, and so you can know what this one is if you're interested. But you could use any Kaleidoscope powder you want, and all you have to do is take a small amount of it, put it onto your paintbrush, and add a little bit of water, and it becomes the most beautiful, vibrant paint that just kind of glistens in the light. So I'm going to hold this up in a minute so you can see the difference. I think it really does add quite a bit to this gingerbread man. So I wanted to share that with you. He's so happy. See, look here. All right, so you can kind of see that glinting in the light there. So now I'm just going to go ahead and put this all together. I cut another piece of the green cardstock, the British Racing Green, to serve as a shadow for the Gingerbread Kisses stamp that I also used for the sentiment. And by the way, this piece of paper right here is 3 3/4 inches by 4 inches. I did stamp that in some palm tree ink, so it's a beautiful green that matches all of these colors here. And now I'm going to go ahead and glue those all down using the liquid adhesive. Now usually I like a little dimension to my card, but since this is going to be one of our mailable gift cards, I wanted it to be as flat as possible, and so I'm only gluing everything down with liquid adhesive for this one. Of course, I couldn't resist adding a few gems to the card. You're going to see me using some gems throughout. These crown jewel gems are gorgeous. This is one of the green ones. So I added some more green, and they just shine in the light. So here's our first card. Take a look at how cute that is. It's got the border there. There's space for you to write a message. Put your gift card in there. This one's for Nectar, which is one of my favorite juice bars where I get my green drinks. All right, for our second card, I'm going to be using some of this gorgeous Redwoods cardstock. I love that Maker Forte cardstock is nice and thick, which is 100-pound cardstock, so it's perfect for card bases. This time I cut the paper in half the opposite direction. So this measures 5.5 by 8.5 inches, and we're going to score it in half at 4 1/4, and then also at 1 inch. So this is going to be a similar idea to the other card we made, but this one's more of a vertical card. So these are both so simple and easy to make. Hopefully I'm showing you just how simple they are, and they're great for mailing. So it's a card, it's basically a regular card size with just a flap for the gift card. So I love this idea. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and cut a notch in this one as well using that same punch. Now this time there is more room for the gift card, so you can add more than just a bead of glue. You can actually make it a little bit thicker. So I am going to add a little bit more thickness to the glue there, and then I'll put the acrylic blocks over the top to allow that to dry. You could also use score tape, something really, really strong. So for this one, I just cut a strip of paper down the side. This measures 3/4 inch by 5 3/8 inch. That white cardstock in the middle is 4 1/8 inch by 5 3/8. I just wanted to have a border. So basically you're just cutting it small enough so that there's a red border all the way around. So then I'll place that on the side there and then add that to the card on the inside. Pretty simple so far. And there's the start to this card right there. For the outside panel, I wanted to use one of these foilable pattern papers. This is Christmas wrapped in foil, and it's a 6x6 paper. And while I am choosing these papers, I'm going to choose quite a few of them to foil up because I know that I'm going to use this for another gift card holder where you need a 6x6 piece of cardstock or paper. Usually I like to use something that has like a Christmas design. Foil is going to be great. You can use any Christmas paper that you have. So I'm just choosing my favorites here, and I'm going to foil all of these up. You know I can't resist that foil. So I've chosen 4 different designs. I'm going to set that aside to do the foiling. For this card, I wanted my focal point to come from this stamp set called Holiday Spotlights. There are some gorgeous images. This one with the reindeer is the one I really wanted to use. There is a circle die cut in the Maker Forte nested circle dies that is the perfect size for cutting this out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp this up real quick, and then while my foiling machine is heating up, I'll have this part all ready. So I'm going to use my prime time to get this stamp ready. Since this is my first time using this stamp and there are quite a bit of solid pieces in this image, this prime time will really help it to stamp very well. All you have to do is spray that prime time on, allow it to sit for about a minute, and then wipe it off, and then it's ready for stamping. And look, I got a really great impression the first time. I'm using Fresh Prints ink for this, which is a beautiful lime green, kind of a lighter spring green, but it works well for Christmas too. And around the edges, I want to use my favorite Welsh Dragon. So I'm going to just ink that up around the edges. You can see I had it tilted, so I got it all over my Misty, but that's okay because that is just the price you pay for stamping around the outside. And that looks pretty cool, but I wanted it to be a little darker, so I'm going to go in one more time, kind of angling my ink pad there, and then I'm wiping off the inside edge with my towel. And the reason for that is I didn't want to get any harsh edges. I just wanted it to kind of blend into that Fresh Prints ink, and it looks so pretty. So now I'm going to go ahead and die cut this out. And I also die cut out a couple extra pieces of green cardstock. That's going to give this a little more stability. So I'll glue all of that together just like so. So we have 3 layers for this. And there we go. I'm going to add that reindeer piece right to that outside and put my acrylic block right over the top. All right, back to this paper here. My foiling machine is ready. Now I just need to choose some colors of foil. Of course, I'm going to do some reds and greens. Those are my favorite traditional colors. But of course, you can do whatever colors you want, whatever color scheme you have in mind. I am using my foil brush for this. I have a separate brush that I have set aside just for foiling, especially for foiling toner paper and toner sheets. This is really going to help. So I'm going to dust that off and then add that to my Mink carrier sheet here. Normally I would use a parchment paper, but this was just really handy. So I have this set on the number 3, and there's our foiled result with that green. I think I am going to hold it up to show you. There we go. So pretty. I love foil. So I'm going to go ahead and foil up all the rest of these here. I foiled the reindeer. Look at that in red. Love it. And then I also foiled up the ornaments in red. I'm going to save this, by the way. I think that's going to make a gorgeous tag. Here's the other one, which is the ornaments. Just like that. So pretty. And then I also foiled up one other green one. This one right here. Nope, I guess I did this one in red as well. So that's a really pretty pattern for that. I thought that one was a little too busy for my reindeer. So I'm trying to choose which one, and I end up choosing that reindeer. Of course, the reindeer goes with the reindeer, but I had to try them all just to make sure. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this piece of paper down. This is going to be 3 1/8 inch by 5 3/8 inch. So that's going to fit perfectly on that front panel. So I'll go ahead and attach that, and then we'll attach the reindeer off to the side. And see how I'm only placing the glue on the portion that's going on that panel. I definitely don't want to glue these panels together or the card won't open. So I left that whole right side clear. And should we turn this into Rudolph? Of course we should. So here's some more crown jewels, of course. And it also covers up any imperfections you might have in your foiling. That's how I decide where my extra embellishments go. That's just a little secret between you and me. All right, so here's our second card all ready to go. I did end up stamping a sentiment on the inside, but look at that, how great that fits in there. So let me show you that sentiment real quick. Just a little bit of foil there, and 'tis the season to be jolly. Stamp that in the palm tree ink as well. And there we go. There's our second card. Look how fast this is going. Time flies when you're having fun. Now, sometimes I want to give a gift card with more than just a card. I like to give candy sometimes, and this has always been one of my very favorite ways to give chocolate and a gift card, and that's by making a little case for it, and it kind of has a secret opening. So I have a piece of 6x6 paper here for this one. This one will fit a Hershey's bar in it, but I'm also going to show you how to make one a little bit larger for those of us that have distinct tastes and we want a larger chocolate bar. For this one, I'm scoring at 2.5 inches, 2 3/4 inches, 5 1/4 inches, and 5.5 inches. So look here, I am going to fold all those score lines. It's kind of hard to see in this video, but you'll be able to see it as I fold these over. They're really thin little layers. So we're going to form kind of a box, like half a partial box, I guess. So I'm folding all those up, and then look at this, it's going to close together like that. But before you close it, you want to die cut a hole in the top, and it needs to be big enough to fit ribbon. So I found this ribbon. I've got a couple choices here. This one measures 3/4 inch, and this one is 1.5 inch ribbon. So for the Hershey bar, I decided for some reason to use the larger ribbon. So I need a die cut that will fit that large ribbon through it. I found this one in my stash. It's a rectangle, so you can use any rectangle you have. You can use an oval, you can use a square even, or a circle. On the next one, I'm going to use a circle. So you want to line it up to be kind of in the middle of one of those panels. So you can only die cut one at a time because we have that box there. And I want to line up the second one even with that first one. So I'm just kind of eyeballing it, lining them up the same distance down from the top. I'm really just eyeballing it. I don't have measurements for this part because it does depend on which die cut you use. So I ended up having to cut the edge just a little bit. So we're going to have a smaller little tab to glue this together. But because my die cut was so large, I needed to cut that off just a touch. And now I'm going to use some score tape on that panel. It's actually really just a little ledge there. And now we can go ahead and close up this partial box. So I'm just very carefully lining up those edges and taping that down. So there is our box beginnings. Now here's the cool part. Watch this. Take your ribbon and put it through both of those die cuts and kind of line it up so that it's even. And then take your Hershey bar and press that ribbon down into the box. See, there's not a bottom to this box, but the ribbon's going to hold that in. And then you'll tie the ribbon at the top, just like this. Now, this is going to be a really large bow, but I personally really like large bows. And then look at this. You pull the whole ribbon up in the knot right there, and it pulls up the entire Hershey bar. It's like a secret trick. It's like a sliding magic trick. So for this one, I'm just going to use a glue dot, just a simple glue dot to add that to the candy bar. And you want to add it high enough so that it does not interfere with where the die cut is. So see, I'll show you in a second. In fact, I moved this one up just a little bit. So see, here it's getting stuck right there. So I moved it so that when you pull it all the way out, the card doesn't interfere with the opening and closing. So I moved it down just a little bit so that the card would be down more to the middle of the Hershey bar. Okay, so that's really cool, right? And we're going to decorate that in a second. But it already has the foil. But for this one's bigger. See, it's bigger than a Hershey bar. It's wider. It's actually thicker as well. And for this one, I'm actually going to create a little pocket for the gift card to go in, so it's not just sitting on top of the Hershey bar. It's actually in its own little pocket. So what you want for that little pocket is to cut a piece of paper that's 5 inches by 3.5 inches. And then you're going to score it at 1/4 inch right here, and that's going to be the bottom of the pocket. And then score it at the long edge at 2 1/4 and 4 1/2. All right, so here we are, 2 1/4 right there. See, I had to put my card in just to remember those measurements. 2 1/4 and then 4 1/2. Okay, just lining that up, making sure I've got it right. Yep, there it is. 4 1/2. Okay. So this is super simple to make. And all you have to do is fold all those score lines, and then we're going to cut up from that bottom where we scored it, and we're going to cut a little triangle on the score line and then off each side, so it creates a little triangle right there. That is going to make it easier to fold it together. So we're not going to get any issues with the paper. But first, we also need to cut off this extra tab on this end. So there's an extra tab right there. We're going to cut that right off, and then kind of cut off a little bit of an angle right near the bottom there. I hope I am showing you this well enough. I'm trying to explain, but it is so much easier to close up if you snip off those little edges at an angle. All right, so I did cut a little notch in the top. Now all we're going to do is fold up those bottom scored edges. Put a bead of glue right there on those edges, just like that. And then we're also, I forgot to cut a little angle on that one, so I'm going to do that. Then we're also going to glue up this edge. And there you go. Now remember, as a member of the crafter party, you can rewatch this video as many times as you want. So if I didn't explain it well enough, hopefully the video explains it. But look how cute that is to put a little gift card in. So cute, so easy. All right, for this larger one, I've cut a piece of paper to 7.5 by 6 inches. So on here, you can see that I'm scoring at 3 inches, 3.5 inches, 6.5 inches, and 7 inches. And you can see that this particular paper right here is actually 8.5 inches by 6, but I am going to cut that down. So that's why I'm telling you, cut some paper to 7.5 by 6 inches. And this is going to work out perfectly for you. Okay, so I'm folding these just like the last one. Guys, this might be one of my favorites. I'm going to say that to probably all of them, but this really might be one of my favorites. Now I'm taking one of the circle dies that's going to fit that ribbon. This one right here, the smaller ribbon. And look, you can just use a small circle die. That one's going to work just fine. So I'm going to center that in the panel right there and die cut that one out. And then after I do that, I will line up the other one in the center of the other panel, trying to make it the same distance down as the other one. Now I'm just eyeballing this. It doesn't have to be perfect. No one's going to measure and say, hey, you're off. Why did you cut this a little crooked? Nah, they're just going to be glad for chocolate. So see, I am cutting this down now. So there we go. So now this tab is perfect to add your score tape. Right, just like that. And then we're going to put this together just like the last one. I do go pretty slow on this part. I want to make sure I line up those edges just like that. And then I press down on that score tape. All right, and I want to use this paper around the edges. This is, again, from Watercolor Winter, well, let me see. Winter Watercolors. It's one of my favorite Christmas papers. I need to get more of that. And then I'll just glue this down. I just kind of folded those edges around. You can score them if you want to, but again, they're going to be just a little bit wider than the original score. So I find that just kind of folding it around really works just fine. And glue that down, and it helps to put that chocolate bar inside because then it's nice and flat for gluing. There we go. So cute. All right, now here comes the fun part. Put the ribbon through the die cuts and line up those ends of the ribbon. And then put your chocolate bar down in, pressing the ribbon down, and then tie a bow or a knot at the top, whatever you want. There we go. And I'll trim those ends of that ribbon. And there's our larger chocolate bar for discerning palettes. I've already put the gift card holder in the back with the gift card inside. So you can see it's a little more hidden this way. Very, very cute. And to finish these off, I'm just going to use these tags from an earlier Simple Saying set. These are also foilable, so I'm going to go ahead and use these and foil them with green. And I did that off camera because we're running out of time for our gift card holders, and you already know how to foil. So I just cut those out, added the green foil, and now I'm going to add those with some pop dots or some squares here, foam squares. And there we go. Just attach these. And that's all there is to it. Now there is already foil on the background paper of that one. And then this one, of course, has the Christmas paper, but you can add any more decorations that you want. You can add a name tag if you want. You can stamp some snowflakes on that green portion, whatever you want to do. So this is just giving you the basic ideas of how those work. Aren't they fun? That's really fun. Okay, so let's move on to probably my favorite gift card folder ever. This is the one where you need a 6x6 paper, and all you're going to do is score it in half at 3 inches. Score it in half, and then turn it, not that way, turn it the other way, Kari. There you go. Turn it and score at 2. And the reason I want to do this is because I want the scored at 2 portion to be the bottom of my folder. So I want to make sure the front of my folder is right side up. If there's a design, you want that to be right side up. And then for this, before I glue it down, I just want to cut a little bit off the edges so those edges of the paper do not show. They don't poke out. So see, watch what I'm going to do here. I'm just going to trim a little tiny bit off the edges, kind of like in a diagonal fashion, right there, just like that, just a little bit. And just doing that is really going to help it to fold and not make that paper buckle and not make it kind of poke out the edges there. I'm using my bone folder just to get a nice fold. And then you have got the makings of the cutest and the fastest gift card holder ever. I could probably make a bunch of these in under an hour. So I glue up the sides there, and you have a little folder. One side is perfect for your gift card, and one side is perfect for a tag or another gift card, whatever you want. For these, I'm making belly bands, and you just take a piece of scrap paper, just kind of a strip of paper. This is 1 inch thick, and then fold it around so that it's nice and loose, a little bit loose. You don't want it totally loose so it falls off, but just a little loose because there are going to be a couple of items in this folder. And then glue that together. I like to glue the seam at the front because we're going to cover that up. And what we're going to use to cover that up is this super cute stamp set. This is called Holiday Seals. And look at all these really great holiday decorations. They're perfect size, and there is the perfect circle to cut these out from the Maker Forte circle dies. So I just want to make sure there's two is going to fit side by side on this red cardstock. This is the telephone box cardstock, and I'm going to white heat emboss them on this cardstock. To protect against stray embossing powders, I used my embossing tool there, stamped this down with the clear sticky embossing ink, and added some Snow Flurries embossing powder. This is my favorite white embossing powder. It works great for this. It's great for detail embossing. So look how great we're going to get a really good result on even those small words. So I'll heat set that, and then I'll die cut those out with that circle die. And then we have it ready to go right on that belly band. I will use some foam squares again to pop these up. And there we go. Just going to make sure that's going to slide on and off easily. And it looks like it's going to work out perfectly, and it's not going to fall off. This one may be a little bit loose. I'm going to make the next one a little tighter. But of course I needed some green gems, of course. But I didn't have any of the design on that right side, so I thought it needed some green to just kind of balance it out. So here's our mini folder gift card holder. Look at that. Now, of course, that other side, as I said, is perfect for a tag. So I'm going to die cut some tags. I have a tag die in my stash. I'm just going to use some of this cute pattern paper to cut out one. And then I'll cut an extra piece out of white cardstock. That's going to give it some extra stability. And I'll glue those together for our tag. You can cut your own tag if you want to. If you don't have a tag die cut, all you have to do is just cut it to the size you want, snip off the corners, add a little hole for the ribbon. I mean, they're pretty easy to make without a die cut. So I glued those together, and now I have just a little bit of this ribbon left. It's going to be the perfect amount for our tag ribbon here. I'll slide the folded part through the holes and then slide the ends right through that part. And that'll make the perfect tag ribbon. Cut off the ends, and that's going to go right in the other side. And you can write a message on that side of the tag or the to and the from, whatever you want, or you can even make extra gift tags for them to use. And I'll slide this right back on here. There we go. There's our mini folder gift card holder. I love it, and I love that foil especially. This cute little tag with the ribbon sticking out of the top. It's just so festive. These would be cute, like kind of placed all over the Christmas tree or stuck in a little stocking. Yeah, I like it. Of course, I made another one with some different colors. I used the ornaments 6x6 paper that we foiled up and some more of that Christmas paper. I wanted to add a few more details to this one, so I'm just adding some green dots in the background with a Copic marker. And then I'm going to add some larger dots as well. Slide that down, make sure I don't miss the center portion. So easy, so fast, just to add a little extra detail. And then one more thing, I decided to also color these up with some Kaleidoscope powder. So I made some again into paint, and this was the color that came in the Crafter Party box. Look at that. Those are so cute, really fun. Some of my favorite stores right there. And so I used a red ribbon on this one, and there's that second one. And now I'm just going to paint a little bit of detail on these. Not too much. Added some to the berries. Can you see that shine from the Kaleidoscope powder? And there's some to the Santa's beard right there. That's going to be the perfect finishing touch. Okay. I absolutely had to use the pattern paper that came in the Crafter Party kit because it is adorable. So you know I had to create the measurements specifically for this paper. I'm cutting off a little bit of this paper. I'm trimming off 1/4 inch so that it's 4 3/4 by 8 1/4 inches. So I did trim off a little bit. You can save that for belly bands. It's perfect to use for a belly band. And now we're going to score these at 2 3/4 inches and 5 1/2 inches. So 2 3/4 inches, 2.75, and 5 1/2, 5.5. So that's going to give us a really nice folio. I'm calling this my pattern paper folio. Now the blue paper was a little bit short for me, so if it is short for you, it's fine. I made it work, but it was a little bit shorter than this other paper, the red paper. So you're going to see. Now I'm going to fold each of those to the inside. So the outside of the paper is going to be the dark blue, and the inside is the light blue. So I'm folding them to the inside. And now we're going to cut a notch on the left side, looking at it this way. And we're going to cut a notch so that a gift card can go inside. What I'm going to do is I'm just kind of lining it up in the center and drawing a diagonal line. Now, I might be doing this backwards. I kept thinking I want it to go this way, but then I kept putting the ruler the opposite direction. It doesn't matter. No one's going to judge you on the direction that your gift card holder is, the diagonal is. They're not going to judge you on that. But you can do it either way. So I started at the center and kind of made a diagonal line towards that first score line. And I'm just going to take a piece of, or I'm going to just take my scissors actually, and cut out a notch, follow that line around, and cut that out. Now I know this looks funny right now, but I'm going to explain why I'm doing on the left side here. And there is a reason to my madness. This I'm going to trim just a little bit so that it folds nicely. This folio is going to fold nicely. See that? Just like that. Look how cute this paper is. I love it. Then I'm going to cut the notch out of this one too, just following that diagonal line, and then trimming along that score line and cutting that paper out all together. Okay, so we have a little diagonal there. I accidentally ripped that, so I'm going to trim that up just a touch right there. So we have that diagonal right there. You can see this one's a little shorter, no worries. And then we're going to glue down the outside edge and the bottom. So we're going to just a little bead of glue here and a little bit here. So this is perfect for the sizing of this paper that we get in the Crafter Party box. I knew this had to work out. So watch this. I'm gluing the outside and the bottom only. And that's so our gift card can slip right into that pocket. Okay, now I'm going to take some of this beautiful white paper that came in the Crafter Party box, and it's got like a sheen to it, and I'm cutting it to 3 inches by 5 inches, 3 by 5. And for this red one, I'm going to use some of the ribbon that came in the kit. I'm going to use it on the back here, just cut a little bit so it will fold all the way around. And I'm going to glue it to that 3 by 5 paper that we cut, the cardstock. This will give it some stability here. And then I'm going to put that ribbon right over that score tape. and glue our folio down to the 3x5 cardstock. So I'm taking the back, just gluing on the back of that right down, just like this. So this is nice and stable, nice thick weight. And here's where we put the gift card. And then this one we're going to tie up with the ribbon. So that will keep it closed, just like so. And then I'll trim off some of those edges of the ribbon, or the ends of the ribbon, so it's a good length for our folio. And now I have a little mini charm that I made out of the nutcrackers. If you want to see how I made that, be sure to tune in to day 31 of Inktoberfest, the very last day. I'm going to make those on the very last day. So I just added it to a little lobster claw here, and I'm attaching it to my ribbon. If you don't have this jewelry, this piece of jewelry that you can attach it to, just attach it with a piece of twine, whatever you have on hand. So there's one idea. And then for this one, I'm going to close it with some Velcro. So I've cut these Velcro circles in half, and I'm going to line up the edge that I cut with the edge of the folio. And I'm going to put that at the bottom of our diagonal. And then I'm going to glue this down, the back down to the 3x5 cardstock. So this one does not get any ribbon because it's got the Velcro holding it shut. So you can do a magnet if you have magnets. You can also do that idea. But I thought this worked really well. And for this one, I'm going to decorate with that cute set that came in the kit, Christmas Critters. And of course, I have to use that Christmas stamp set, that the Christmas Critters Sentiments. This one here, Meowie Christmas. I couldn't resist. That's so cute. But you'll notice that it's a little bit longer than our folio. So I am going to cut this sentiment apart. That way I can stamp it right on there. So see, I cut it apart very carefully with my scissors, and I can always put it back together later if I want it to be a longer sentiment, but this is going to fit much better. I'm going to heat emboss this with white again, using my embossing bag there, and stamping that down with some clear sticky ink, and then heat embossing it with white. It's going to look great on this dark background. I've already colored up the house and the cat off screen, and those are going to go right on the top as well. So let me just get this all squared away. I'll bring my heat tool to that and heat emboss that. That's so pretty. And now here's the gift card. Stick that in there. You can write a sentiment on the inside. You can put a piece of white paper in there and write your greeting, whatever you want to do. And for the house, I'm going to pop this one up with some foam tape. This is not going to be one that I mail out, so it's fine to put as much dimension as you want on it. And then I'm also going to decorate that snow up. I want to add some beautiful iridescent glitter, and this Maker's Magic Crystal Clear is perfect for that. So I'm going to open this up and get that ready to go. And I'm going to put this, just kind of squeeze a bead of this right over all of that glue, or I'm sorry, all of the snow on this house. So I'm going to get that started and put a little bit all over, just like this, because I want this to be a really glittery, snowy rooftop. I'm also going to use it around the bottom of the house here for that snow. And then I have some sugar sparkles here. This is the iridescent. There we go, this one. And I'm going to use that over that Maker's Magic. So this is going to dry beautifully with a little bit of dimension and that glitter. It's going to be really pretty. Just going to clean up a little bit here on the edge with my magic wand. And now we'll add this to that folio. Kind of putting it a little off to the left because I know I want to put the cat right in front on the right side. So there we go, Meowie Christmas. Let me fix that right there. Make sure I put that. There we go. So there's the second folio. Of course, I couldn't stop making. I made another one as well. This was the first one, my prototype that I made. I used the I'm Smitten stamp set. So cute. And this one I put on the right, the gift card on the right. But that's when I found out it's better to put it on the left side because you have more stability with those two, the papers together, and you already have the cardstock on the back on the right side. So I found it best to put the gift card on the left, and that works great. So there's our 3 folios with the pattern papers. Here's a little close-up look. I also did some glitter on that mitten as well. Same idea as on the house. And I'll set that aside while we work on our very last card. I can't believe it's our last one, but it is. And this one uses the other side of the 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper that we cut in half. So this is that second piece there. And we're going to make a pop-up gift card for this one. It's kind of a square card. It's really, really fun to make. Take your 4.25 by 11-inch cardstock and score it at 4.5, 5.5, and 6.5. Just like this. Fold the center score line back and the other 2 score lines forward. And you're going to get something that looks like this. So I'm just going to press those down. You'll see you have kind of a fold in the center like that. That's exactly what you want. And so first we're going to glue down the back, but I'm only going to put it on the top, outside, and bottom portion of this fold. You definitely don't want to fold inside the very center of that crease because we're going to cut a notch for the gift card. So I'm using some of the rectangle dies from Maker Forte. This one fits that gift card practically perfect. I think it's the 3rd or 4th one in, if I remember correctly. And so I cut that out so it creates a little pocket for this gift card to sit in. Now I did have to use my magic wand to kind of open that opening. I might have put the glue in too far, so be sure you don't glue that shut. You want this to fit the gift card nice and snug though, so that was really good that I had to help it along. See, that's going to just pop right up when you open the card. Super fun. So to decorate this one, I'm going to use a couple of the papers to help us out here. Look how that opens. It's really cute. So I'm just going to choose this, one of these Santa papers, maybe this one. I'm looking through the papers to see what I like with the green cardstock. This would look so pretty with a dark gray cardstock or a red cardstock, whatever you wanted to use. So I cut a square of white cardstock to 4 inches by 4.25. That's going to be one of our layers. And then I cut a piece of pattern paper, this piece here, to 3 inches by 4 inches. And that's going to be the next layer. And then you can see it's going to fit right there. So I'm going to cut that down. And then I'm going to use the back side of the piece that I cut off. So let me show you here. So that's going to go up just like this. The back side has this really cute stripe on it. It's gray and white. And I want this piece to be 1 1/8 by 4 inches approximately, and that's going to go just below that piece. Just like this, gluing those down. Look how cute that is. I love the pattern paper that all matches and goes together. And I'm going to take a piece of this pom-pom trim that came in the kit and glue that down. Now this is where your Maker's Magic is going to work really great. It's a really great glue for this as well. Nice and strong. That's going to keep it there. So I'm going to put that along the edge of where those 2 papers meet. Just gluing that down, trying to keep it straight here. And then I'll cut off the excess so that it matches up with where that pattern paper is. There we go. And then I'll get that nice and straight on that Maker's Magic. And that's going to hold that nicely. I did put an acrylic block over the top while that dried, so that's going to dry nice and straight. Of course, I can't resist. Here comes the crown jewels. I'm adding some green and some red to this one. And I thought that it needed a little something on those Santa Claus hats, so I'm bringing in some marshmallow paste. Well, first, I guess I'm showing you a close-up there. Here's the marshmallow paste. So I've got a small palette knife here that has a pointy end. That's going to help me put this on to those small ends of the Santa Claus hats. So I wanted those little pom-poms to kind of puff up. Now you could use a pom-pom on those if you want, but I just like the idea of the marshmallow paste. So I'm puffing that up with a little bit of heat, and then I'm going to kind of form that with my magic wand here. Make it a little bit puffier, if you will. Look at that. It's so cute with all those details. The pattern paper. Now I did put some paper on the inside as well, and I stamped one of those wreaths from the holiday wreaths stamp set with a sentiment in the middle that says Merry Christmas. And now I'm going to show you all of the folios and gift card holders that we made. Here's our pattern paper folios with the gift cards on the left. Those ones were with Velcro. This one is closed with a little ribbon tie. It's easy enough to open and close just like this. So there you go. Again, you can write a sentiment on the inside or decorate it however you want. This pattern paper just really does most of the work for you though, which I really like. So close that one up. I love that little nutcracker charm. So there we go. And then this one here that we did with the foiled paper, 6x6 paper, to create a tag holder and a gift card holder with a little belly band around the edge. Those are so cute. These ones are super simple. They're all pretty simple to make. I think you could make a lot of these in one afternoon if you were so inclined. I love this pattern paper tag too. So there's that one. Then we also had this one here where we created the Hershey bar slider with the gift card in the back. That's with the ginormous bow. Here's this one with the gift card holder right in there. You can see my gift card right in there. So much fun for gift giving. And then of course there's our mailable ones. This one here, which is more of a horizontal landscape card. I just want to put a gift card in there. I can't resist. There we go. Put that right in there. You can write your message there. So these ones are mailable, or you can give it to your recipient directly as well. And then here's more of our vertical card with the reindeer, some foil. Really fun. So lots of gift card holder ideas for you. I hope that you liked one or some of these, at least, that you might give some of these a try. Be sure to check out that PDF for all the measurements as well. Thanks so much for joining me today, and enjoy the rest of your crafter party. Bye-bye.